What's going on, everybody? I am here to do a review for the movie Smile 2. Now, let me just say this. I didn't even initially plan on seeing this movie, but because of that filth Joker 2 that I saw a couple weeks ago, I had to cleanse my palate, and I said, you know what, let me go ahead and see Smile 2, and so I guess the Joker 2 was good for something other, because it definitely wasn't a good movie, because it led me to end up watching this. And let me tell y'all something right here, this has got to be one of the best horror movies to come out this year, and a very good sequel to the follow-up of Smile. And I saw Smile online and I was completely blown away by the movie and the concept of what it was, and this one was a very good sequel. Now, before I get into all of that, let me go ahead and explain or tell you what the synopsis of the movie is. About to embark on a new world tour, global pop sensation Skye Riley begins to experience increasingly terrifying and inexplicable events. Overwhelmed by the escalating horrors and pressures of fame, she must face her dark past to regain control of her life before it spirals out of control. And spiraling out of control it did, because man, this was one hell of a roller coaster ride. And I kept saying to myself, like I'm gonna say right now, like I said when I was looking at the first Smile movie, I don't want that curse anywhere near me. As a matter of fact, if you walk in my direction, I'm okay if you give me the stank face. It doesn't matter to me, because now that them creepy smiles, I'm only gonna now think of this movie right here. And it's crazy because this could actually be a damn good prank if you get enough people involved and you find someone who you think is going to fall for it, because this is absolutely insane. But let me go ahead and get into the actual review itself. First off, let me just give a complete shout out to Naomi Scott, who plays the role of Skye Riley. Skye Riley, like they said, she's a pop star. She basically is on her way of trying to regain her life and regain her career and get a comeback after a tragic incident happened to her a year before. And then it also was met with alcohol, drugs, just a huge downward spiral. So she literally is coming back from a downward spiral only to get hit with this entity to go on another downward spiral, while people are thinking she's still spiraling out of control from her past. So it's crazy how all of this happens. But Naomi Scott killed this role, and I've seen her in other roles before, but in this one right here might be her best performance to date, because a lot of the roles that I've seen her in, they were kind of soft, not really so soft, but they were more tame. I think that's the best way to put it. But this one, she really showed her acting range. She actually showed you and made you believe that this woman was going through something, and the thing is, she was suffering alone and no one around her could really help her the way that she would want them to, because when it comes to this curse and this entity, when it latches onto you, you're the only one that can deal with it, and it's scary at the same time. So again, people are going to naturally think that this woman is relapsing and she's back on drugs, or she's back doing alcohol all over again, or whatever the case may be. But this woman was going through it, and it's like the whole time you're watching her performance, you are rooting for this woman and hoping that she comes out on top. And the question about it is will she come out on top, or won't she? Because we've already seen the occurrences of what happened in the first one, for those who did see the first Smile movie. And the movie pretty much starts off, first off, I didn't even expect the movie to start off the way that it did. So this is not, what I'm telling you is not really so much of a spoiler unless you haven't seen the first Smile movie. Basically, the way that the curse works is like a leech. So basically, it attaches and it goes from one host to the next, one host to the next, and then by the time it gets to that person, it lasts for about a week, and then it keeps the person like going out of their mind more and more and more until the entity completely takes over you, and then it causes you to take yourself out. And then right before you get ready to do it, whoever's there to witness it happening, it latches on to another person. It kind of reminds me of The Ring a little bit. You know how you had to watch the tape and it says you'll have 7 days before you die, but if you find a way to get someone else to watch the tape before the 7 days is up, the curse leaves you and attaches to them. So it's another one of those things of a curse needing a host in order to thrive. And the goal for the movie, at least with this one and her character, is trying to find a way to get the host to detach itself from her so she can go and continue to live her life. But when you find out the process in which she has to go through in order for that to happen, even that is risky. So again, it's like the whole time you're watching this movie, you are rooting for this woman. You want her to win. You want her to come out on top. But the thing is, will she? Because we saw the results of the first one, and unfortunately, what happened there happened. Now I'm not going to spoil it for you, but so that because I want people to actually watch this and see for themselves what the outcome of it was. Because again, you really want her to survive this thing, but this entity is not trying to let it go, because this thing is probably undefeated. It's never lost. It's always won. And by winning, it managed to take out its host and attach to another one and do the same thing all over again. The one thing I also liked about this movie is the cinematography. The cinematography was really good in this movie, especially in this one scene involving a vehicle. It happens like maybe within the last 15 minutes of the movie. The way that they shot that was actually very impressive, because you got like a POV like image of, you know, one character having a conflict with another character, while us as the audience, they were looking at us having the conflict with each other. So it felt like they were talking to us when they were having this argument. And I like how they did it and gave us the point of view as if we were the ones they were talking to, when the whole time they were talking to each other. So that particular scene that happens near the end of the movie was actually pretty impressive. That was a really good standout scene for me. Whoever shot that, kudos to them. But hands down, one of my favorite scenes in this movie, and probably one of the most creepiest scenes in this movie, was definitely the house scene where all the people, I'm guessing these were like her backup dancers, I think they were her backup dancers, were all like clamoring and trying to get to her while they had that creepy smile. I bet they had a lot of fun filming that scene, but it was probably a little chaotic at the same time, because the way that they're all like bunched up on top of each other, it kind of reminded me of what the creature became in Evil Dead Rise, at the end of Evil Dead Rise, how they were all trying to clamor to try to get to her and all types of stuff like that. That's when you knew at this point it really got real, because now this entity is really showing its ass. And the way that they choreographed that scene, because they were moving so fluidly as if it was a choreographed dance and these were dancers. But that scene right there was so damn creepy, and man, kudos to whoever even came up with the idea to do that. I remember when I saw that in the trailer, I was saying, whoa, that made me want to see the movie. I said, I don't know if I'm gonna go to the theaters and see it, but that right there would make me want to see it, because I'm curious to how they're gonna actually really pull that off, and they managed to pull that off flawlessly. Of course, one of the other things that sticks out to this is, of course, the characters that they brought in to have these creepy ass smiles on their faces. And it's like, when you see that, you already know what's going to happen. I thought it was also interesting how whenever the smile came up from the person that you see smiling, it always played this chord, like this score chord right there to let you know, you know what's happening, you know what's about to happen. And it's just amazing. Like I said, please do not walk up to me smiling like that, because you might get hands put on you. Like, we ain't playing no games out here. People doing stuff like this and thinking that it's a joke. But yeah, it's just insane. I really had a good time watching this movie. This was actually pretty good. I actually had quite a few jump scares in here. It was even a couple of times where I had to look away from the screen. And I rarely do that. I had to look, I think it was like about 3 times I looked away from the screen because of fear that something was gonna pop up, and sure enough, it usually did. But unfortunately, it always caught me when I looked back at the screen, because they would drag it out before the jump scare would actually happen. It was one that happened. It was one in the bed. It was one that happened when she was rehearsing. I think those two were the ones that really got me, but there was some others, but those two to me really stood out. All in all, I had a really good time with this movie. I really enjoyed it. This was definitely a good horror flick. Definitely one for jump scares. I would highly recommend it. I really would. I low-key think that horror has becoming one of my favorite genres of film. I really honestly believe and think that that is indeed the case. So, if you have seen Smile 1, I think you're going to enjoy Smile 2. But let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.